What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 67 of the Average AF podcast. I am here, as always, with Mr. Ryan Baker.
What's up?
I always forget to say my name, so I'm Adam McElroy.
What's up?
And we do have a very special guest tonight, Miss Cara McClenathan.
What's up?
Oh, look at those claps. How's that make you feel?
Pretty special.
Pretty special? You are very special. But it's awesome to have you on.
Yes, welcome.
I don't even know, like, we've seen each other in passing a couple times over the last couple years, but we haven't really hung out in, like, literally, like, 8 or 9 years or something.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a really long time.
It's been a very long time.
It's almost like a lifetime.
I mean.
In these days, yeah.
Yeah, for certain animals.
Whatever. Hey, what episode are we on?
67.
Oh, yeah. You know why 6 is afraid of 7?
Oh, my God. I can't stand you.
Yeah, because 7 ain't 9.
Oh, my God. That's what you were saying. You're a dad.
Dude, that's what I was thinking.
Hey, I don't like it either.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I loved it. Forget you guys.
I know. Baker loved it and Justin loved it.
Were you spot on? Justin, were you spot on?
Is that what you thought?
Is that what you thought?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a dad joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
And you're a
definitely
dad,
joke.
but you don't appreciate that type of joke.
That
No.
was
I
terrible.
mean, so the
I
thing,
appreciate the hell out of
the
it.
thing with that is, like, I've just grown up for the last 20 years obsessed with stand-up comedy.
Okay.
So, like, low ball, like, easy shit like that, I'm just like, come on, bro, do better.
Okay,
See,
so I
what
have
I thought he was gonna do was 867
5309. Well, yeah, that could work too.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have. No, I needed to start with 6, 7.
Right, okay. What were you
Maybe
going to say?
better.
Oh, honestly, it was nothing to do with anything.
You said I was going way off topic.
So,
yeah.
I was going to introduce Cara with a lot of adjectives, and I forgot, but she is
One job.
definitely, hold on, time out, chill. She's one of the weirdest guests we've ever had, one of the most sassy guests we've ever had, one of the most shit-talking guests we've ever had, and honestly, probably the smartest guest we've ever had,
Okay.
which is a great combination.
It's like a quadruple threat right
Yeah.
there.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
She's
You're
so,
totally wrong.
No,
I-
no, no,
like,
no.
so confused over there. She's like, yeah, what?
I'm like,
Do you have your master's,
yes,
right?
I do. Yeah.
So she's got a master's degree. Like,
Damn. And what?
Social work.
Okay.
yeah. So
Does it matter?
we're
Yeah,
right.
does
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
does
just-
it?
it does,
Do
yeah,
I have
really.
a degree? No.
Right.
No.
Shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, no.
That's a lot.
well, we did meet in college. Yeah. Those were
Okay.
great times. We'll just say that. And basically, I couldn't keep up because I'm too dumb. That's basically
No.
what ended up happening. We had a lot of the same classes together and hung out a lot. And she's also a rapper. I don't know if you still do that.
Nice.
Oh,
I'm just now learning this
Oh,
one.
no. Okay. Maybe.
Okay.
Bonus episode?
Yeah.
I'm down.
Okay.
That's so dope.
You gonna spit some bars?
Ooh.
You got like a whole 16, maybe 8 lined up?
Well, I used to like really practice beatboxing. I don't know if like you knew that too.
Yeah.
Like, and
That's
I'm
even
awful.
better.
No, I'm awful. But
What?
with
It's
this,
just fun.
With this, add a little echo to it.
Yeah.
I'll be good.
Oh, we got all the equipment.
So if we
ready to
have
go.
just like one of you who can freestyle, which I'm working on in the shower.
Okay, I like it.
Okay.
I
best
think
time.
we all are.
Best
but
time
yeah.
to do it.
I sound awful though. So
yeah, bonus episode. She's gonna join us for this week's bonus episode too,
Yes.
which I'm actually really excited about because we've done like 40 to 50 bonus episodes, give or take.
I don't think one.
And never had a guest on during one. So she's gonna get the honors to do that.
Word.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But you wanted to start the episode with some bullshit, probably. So what did you want to
Oh, dude.
talk about?
So, so there was a headline from 102 years ago.
Okay.
So back in 1918 from Mansfield, it was. So the article.
He has trouble reading.
Shut up. So first off, it says, on this very day back in 1918, an order went out that Mansfield businesses were required to close promptly at 7 p.m. each evening. And the article that went out in the Mansfield Shield said epidemic conditions not improving and more stringent measures to be taken. So the Spanish flu pandemic shit was hitting
Was
back in
102 years
1918.
ago?
Yeah, but get this out, this shit. So it had been raging worldwide since February
Yeah.
of 1918.
Wow.
and would last until April of 1920. So almost 2 years,
yeah.
so a little over 2 years, and impacted a third of the world's population in 4 identifiable waves.
Jeez.
And then on top of that,
Oh, God.
so the measures that were announced for Mansfield because of that were all businesses close at 7. There would be a fine not to exceed $100 and up to 90 days in jail, or both. No public meetings. They were all prohibited. Factories and stores were not allowed to have anyone inside who had been stricken with the flu. Floors in all businesses were washed at least once per day with a solution of chloride of lime, and physicians were to report all cases of influenza within 24 hours, and strict quarantine would be observed for all impacted houses with cards attached to each.
Jeez.
So 102 years ago, this same shit was pretty much going on.
Damn. So you're saying this is about to be 2 years long?
If it goes by this, I mean, it kind of seems like it.
Man, why you gotta...
I want to hope not, but...
I know. I was hoping for something positive, too.
yeah,
I don't know.
You know, just start the episode on a fucking...
Trust me, I
gloomy
hate it,
note.
too, that it's not positive, but at the same time, I'm like, holy shit, like...
Yeah, shit's wild.
Because ours happened in February.
Yeah, I don't...
Is when it was reported of
I think
happening.
ours is going to change here in the next couple weeks for certain reasons that I don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
but
no, I feel you. I feel you.
I really want to do like no social media in November.
Well, it started today.
Well, right.
So,
Well,
okay.
like I'm not going to because like I got to do shit for the show and all that.
Okay.
But I want to. I can't basically, but
I think it'd
because
be dope.
because I'm, I don't want to see these posts here in the next week. I don't.
Just no political, social.
Well, everything's about to get political. That's the
Hell yeah,
that's
dude.
the hard part.
As soon as you scroll through on anybody's, like on
Yeah.
your own feed, it's going to be...
And actually, this is
political.
coming out on Tuesday on the Patreon, public on Wednesday. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time people are hearing this, there's gonna be some interesting things.
Word.
Word.
On a lighter note,
Yeah.
I did go to the blood prison.
Yes.
Without
you
you.
did. Yes.
'Cause
Thankfully,
you're a little punk.
you're right. Your 11-year-old daughter has more balls than me. I'll admit it.
Dude, she's a
Can
beast.
Can
by
you
the
go
way.
to haunted houses?
Yeah. I actually went to one a couple weekends ago.
Yeah? Do you like them?
Well, no.
So are you more of the, like, scared shitless type of person, or are you more of the jumpy type?
No,
like,
I'm more of the, like, I will ruin your experience because I'm, like, looking everywhere. Like, okay, there's a person right there. There's a person right there.
so
Like,
you're
I
just
hate,
pointing everything out.
So you
Yeah.
go on defense. the whole
Yeah.
Straight
time.
defensive
Yeah.
mode.
I hate
Okay.
getting startled. And
Yeah.
so, like, I'm just looking everywhere.
over the
Yeah,
place.
so, yeah.
I
It's just
gotcha.
best if I stay home. For real.
But
That works.
so you don't enjoy going.
No.
What made you go?
I wanted to laugh.
Okay.
Like, I just wanted to, I don't know, because I've always
So-
hated it as a kid. And I'm like, I'm older now.
Like
I
laugh at
know it's-
yourself,
Yeah,
or-
just like,
Or other people getting scared, or people trying to scare you. What were you laughing at? What were you going for? Curious.
just a fun, like, time. You know, when you're, like, super, I don't know, nervous. And then, like, you get out of it and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so stupid. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was your daughter nervous?
So they were nervous.
Okay.
There was a couple times she got scared in the line because, of course, they had like the people in the line. So it was her and her 2 friends, and then me and my dad. My dad is like fearless with this shit. Does not get scared ever at any of them that I've ever seen him at. And then my daughter, her and her friends have never been to one, so this is going to be their first experience. And then so it went my dad, my daughter, and then her friend, and then me. I was in the back.
Well, go figure. You had to hide your face.
Right.
Right.
But I was
You were
also going to
scared.
try it. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
terrified.
yeah.
I was also going to try to get it all recorded, too, so I wanted to be in the last.
Right.
But so my daughter had a hold of my dad, like there was a handle on his back the entire time.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure her friends, which I'm not going to mention names, were doing the same thing
Right.
with them. And then I'm behind the one. She is terrified.
Like shaking,
Like,
probably.
dude, she is a mess. Like, God bless her heart.
Yeah.
She was a mess from the line
Yeah.
going into the building. She was already terrified.
Damn.
There's a point where she was like almost hyperventilating. There was times where she was screaming for her mother.
Oh.
She was screaming that I didn't do anything to deserve this. Like, she
Oh,
was
no.
so
Wow.
afraid. And like There was times where I just had to like go up to her and be like, "It's okay, like you're fine. We're almost there. Just close your eyes and I'll lead you through it."
That was before you went in.
This was now happening throughout the whole entire. Like there was times where it was just pitch black, and then like the people we went because it was the prison, so there was the people in the cells.
Right.
Well, that part was like pitch black, and you walk like a good amount, and nothing really happened for a second. But then all of a sudden, that boom, somebody pops out of the jail cell with like hitting it or something.
Right.
Oh God, she was terrified.
Did you tell her you guys were like going to Chuck E. Cheese? Because like,
No,
why
they all knew
was
it.
she-
Because we had to make sure too. We wanted to make sure with the parents, like,
Right.
look, are you sure? Like they're because it even says if you look younger than 10, so it's like 10 or older.
Yeah.
So obviously 11 and 12. But dude,
She's traumatized.
Yeah.
my daughter did good though. Like, so shout out to her because she's a jumpy type. She wasn't the type where like, oh my God, you scared me. Like she was the type where if you jump out, she's like, oh. But she wasn't like, oh, it's a
Right.
spooky ghost guy or whatever. But oh God, it was.
But
It was
they
fun.
enjoyed it overall.
They
or-
enjoyed it, yeah. Like first and foremost, wait till your daughter gets older and
Yeah.
you get to have fun with 3 girls in a car
Well,
after a freaking haunted house.
This will never happen with me. But her mom loves spooky shit, so they can go.
Well, I'm saying you might pick them up. You might be the one picking them up.
I don't think so. I think I'm busy that day.
Dude, it was like the loudest car ride ever
Oh.
home.
Oh, I
Like,
bet.
Everybody was just talking. Oh, God, I got scared at this part. Did you see you at this part? We were like this at that part the whole entire ride
Yeah.
home. And then when we get home, Danielle's waiting for us. So then this whole conversation takes place again in the
Right.
kitchen. And, oh, God, they loved it.
That's awesome.
It was great.
That's
so,
awesome.
Probably nice to see your daughter happy.
Yeah.
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 Hopefully everybody was able to go to sleep.
Yeah, I think they finally went to sleep, I think.
Oh, did they stay at your place?
Yeah, they all stayed at
Okay.
our house. So
Okay.
it was a nice little slumber party.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that shit. I don't know. I have
But
reflexes.
that's how
that-
Danielle was.
Yeah, my reflexes usually have a closed fist attached.
So I guess when Harper gets older, if she needs a chaperone, then you can just chill at home with Danielle and I'll take
Okay.
the kids.
I'm down for that.
Because Caden and Harper.
What a
will
good
be like this.
uncle.
I got you.
What a good uncle.
I got this.
Yeah.
You know what?
Do you
I got
think Caden will go?
Hell yeah.
Caden's 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He'll go. He's a daredevil.
Oh yeah, he definitely is, and he's a ladies' man. His little
my God.
5-year-old.
Dude,
Aw.
Yeah.
we were trick or treating, and he walked past these girls, and he was in a Halo costume. So he started doing these like barrel rolls and stuff onto the side.
Trying to show off.
That's amazing.
The
Sounds
girls
familiar,
walk by
Carol.
in their like nice costume. The whole next 20 to 30 minutes, he kept asking about those girls. Dad, do you think those girls liked my costume?
Oh my.
What did they
God.
say, Dad? What did they say? They liked it?
Right.
Are they sure? I wonder where they're at.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Like, this boy is crushing.
He's gonna have a girlfriend next year.
He definitely is. He's
Yeah.
already got a girlfriend, Bella.
Oh my God.
Talks about her all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Bella's in his class.
My little
Oh my God.
heart.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm not ready for that with Harper, but Harper's more shy and also like fuck you. So
Caden started that way.
yeah.
Just saying.
She's pretty quiet, especially if she doesn't know you. Like we went trick or treating yesterday, and all week we've been practicing saying trick or treat and like thank you, and she's good with pleases and thank yous, but she didn't say trick or treat one time because she was shy, but she would hold her bag out to get candy, but she didn't say trick or treat and she didn't say thank you one time.
Oh.
That's how shy she is, but
Caden would get
Yeah.
the candy and walk away and go, thanks, and like yell it as he's walking away.
yeah. Oh my God.
Oh,
That's
I loved it.
hilarious. I did want to mention back to kind of like how we met because we just talked about this before
Yeah, let's
we
get into our
recorded.
guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just joking.
Well, I didn't realize until actually right before this that you always knew me as my middle name
Oh yeah.
because. So long story short, I don't know why I did this, but when I started college, I don't even think it was like I'm starting college, I need to go, or anything like that. I don't remember the reason.
I'm using a pseudo.
Yeah, but
Is that what this
I
was?
tried to go by my middle name, and I remember changing my Facebook name to Troy McElroy for like a while.
Was it because it rhymed?
No, that's my middle name.
No, I'm just saying because did you want to go like that? Because
No, I don't
Troy
know. I just-
it
So did
had
you
a-
like do poses or something to go by that name?
Oh my
I don't
God!
know.
Have
He
you
really
seen-
was in the
Have you
witness
seen
protection
Due
program.
Date?
Yes.
Why did you just remind me of him?
I don't know.
Ethan Tremblay.
Oh my God.
Wait.
But no, like, so I don't know why I did it, but we were talking. I'm like, I wonder if it was because Troy came out, like that Brad Pitt movie, around that time, which I don't know if it did or not. And then you basically shot me down
You know what?
and said I could never be Brad Pitt. You ugly sack of shit. That's what you said
Honestly,
verbatim.
Yeah. I feel like you sounded
was
better
pretty
saying
much
it
like
than
that.
I did myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like straight shut down.
So
No.
That was pretty on point.
how long did you think, like,
That he was
So
Troy.
I think it took about 2 weeks before I finally found out, but you were always in my phone as Troy
okay.
still after
Yeah.
that. And then like anytime I would see you, like your name was not Adam to me. So I was
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, that's Troy.
That's so weird.
And like I can really pull up a memory just of me like
Right.
commenting and like, hey Troy, like
Right.
question mark, like no. So
I didn't even remember this. This was like it was like a month or two period where I was trying. I was like, no, I'm going to go
That's
by my middle name.
hilarious.
Because some people do, like, when they get, like, older or whatever, sometimes they'll start going by their middle name.
I've always
Like,
found that weird though.
it is kind of
but
strange.
Adam's
weird.
common though. So it's like it's
Yeah.
I mean I get Troy's
Yeah.
not. So
Yeah.
you're I mean Brad Pitt.
And, yeah, and I'm trying to be Brad Pitt,
Yeah.
not knowing I could never be Brad Pitt to
Shit.
some people.
We all got
Um,
dreams.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
I
mine
asked
are
you-
unattainable. I
Some
guess.
some dreams get shattered.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. You know, that I was Troy. I think you're the only person that I've like ever remember or know, like, you know, grabbing onto that, because everybody else was like, "Fuck you, you're Adam." Like, shut up.
I feel like it's funny that I still remember that because that was so long ago that like
that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and that had to have been like something. I don't know if I was calling you Troy one day and you didn't turn around. I don't know if like how I ended up finding out.
Yeah.
You
But-
broke character, really?
I
Yeah.
guess.
God.
Dude, I was like 18.
I mean, I'd have a weakness for me too. So
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I was just like, you know, I can't give this chick my real name. Like, she's crazy.
Yeah,
She's psycho.
I mean,
I knew it just by looking at
It's
her.
like,
Like,
player
you know,
101 right there.
yeah. Well,
Almost.
you know, I was 18. You know,
you're
single,
trying to
whatever.
protect yourself. I get
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah, if you
and-
get the feel, she only knows you by Troy. And
Yeah, and then I can ghost her and then be like, oh no, I'm his twin brother.
Yeah,
Adam.
Adam,
and then
hey.
here
He's
I
such a
am,
douche.
10 years later,
Right.
joining your podcast.
Well, yeah, it's great to have you on. We just started kind of, you know, talking again like a month ago,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't even remember why. I was just like, hey, what's up?
No,
Or
you were
s-
being a really good friend and you were checking in on me, so I
Oh,
appreciate
okay.
that.
Yeah, I don't even remember like what. I'm sorry. I just
No,
have a
no.
terrible memory. But yeah, and then we just been like talking again, and it's just nice to catch up. We have a lot of catching up to do.
Oh yeah.
We tried to kind of recap each other on the last 10 years for like an hour, and there's so much more.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll get into all that. But you have a fucking master's degree.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What the hell is that like?
Oh, I don't know. Some days I feel like I should not be doing what I'm doing because I mean,
Right.
you know.
Well,
once
tell the people what you do for
so
work.
I am a school-based clinician. I do like mental health counseling with kids.
Yeah.
So I work with kids K through 12.
Okay.
And then so I with those kids I either do prevention services, which is like basic level counseling, and then I also have kids who I will bill their insurance and actually do like individual psychotherapy. So
Dang.
yeah, sounds pretty
shit.
intense, and I
It
feel like you're
does.
looking at the person responsible for this, and like, you know, I don't know if obviously, you know, people can just hear me, so
Well, they can see you too. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
She's like, oh shit.
I
that's
forgot
yeah,
about
but
that.
I mean, but like when you really know who I am, it's kind of like
Right.
shocking sometimes because
Yeah, that's why
It is.
we talked
Shit.
we were talking about that too earlier, because like that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a counselor.
So for
Think about me being a counselor.
Thank
it's I mean
but I see
God,
me.
or
I see
whatever.
me in
Yeah,
you though.
we're
Like I
very
honestly
similar.
could be like I could see you being one. And as soon as you said that in the car, I was like, absolutely.
It's so weird that like you're definitely the smarter version of me. with drive, and like I'm just an idiot over here talking to nobody
I
basically.
feel like
So,
there's two ways to look at that. Absolutely.
but so with your master's, I'm stupid in this aspect. That does. This is a dumbass question. Again, I'm dumb.
It's the highest one, isn't it?
No.
There's a doctorate above it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
you're
it's-
not a doctor though.
No.
But do you have? Is a master's a PhD?
No. So that's a doctorate. Yeah.
Okay.
I could
I'm
go.
dumb.
No. That's not dumb at
Hell
all.
no,
I feel
dude.
like,
See, I thought master's was the highest one. You're not
Right.
dumb. Don't worry.
Okay.
okay, so now I'm not super special. Like I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, you knocked yourself down a peg.
No,
Yeah,
you're just a
but,
master.
I mean, honestly though, like
Just a master's. It's just that.
no, I'm super proud of like just doing that in general because it is super hard. That's like
Right.
7 years of college is what
I
that
was about to ask you, how long was that?
7 years. Yeah, and
Jeez.
so it's like, holy crap, you just like, I don't know if there was a point where I was independent enough to be able to say, oh, college isn't for me. It was like I was just on this like downhill, ride and just going and going and going.
Right.
And like I couldn't stop until I was done. And I don't know. I mean, I can't say I was smart. That's not how I got through it all. I think that like there's a lot to it, but just, I mean, the drive that was there.
Yeah.
Thank God, because now it would not be. I'd be like,
That's
nah,
a grind.
nah.
Yeah.
Can I give some basis here?
Yeah.
My mom got her master's in teaching
Yeah.
when I was about, I think, 14 years old.
Yeah.
She was 35.
Right.
And how old are you, Carol?
I'm 29.
Yeah.
Okay, you're young.
So she's a
just give
genius,
some
is
basics
what
there.
Justin's saying.
Yeah.
She's basically a genius.
I mean, you guys are hyping me up, and I want to come here every day.
That's,
I feel like
We're all about
legit though, like,
positive
you're,
energy.
You're 29
That's
and
all
have a
I'm here for.
master's,
Yeah.
though. Like, that's insane.
so I got my
like-
master's, I think, by the age of like 26, I think, when I had it.
Now, did you know you wanted to go into this? Like, is this something that you went your first year of college and you were like, this is kind of dope. And then you were like, I think I can do 6 more years of this shit.
Well, like Adam and I were talking, I almost called you Troy. See, like, what are we doing here?
Dude,
This
just
is
call him
just it.
Troy
This is what
throughout.
it is.
I
I'm
like
changing
it.
everything now. Like,
Yeah.
Yes. Keep it going.
oh, now I don't even see. That just distracted me.
That's
so,
fine.
Back to
That's
Troy.
what we're here for.
Yeah, I think you,
Oh, you asked if that's something I'd always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Well, I always knew something like, I think we all go into college like, oh, I have to get into the medical field because that's all there is. So I went in for radiology, and then I took Psych 101, and I don't know if that's the class I had with
Probably.
you. I don't
Probably.
even know the teacher anymore, but that like changed everything for me because I'm like human behavior. Like I've always kind of like been there for other people. I didn't really know the path I wanted to do with that, but I got my undergrad in psychology, and then they don't really tell you can't do much with that, and so
right.
social work was kind of like the next best option, and like people look down on social workers a lot, and so that's something that I kind of like almost steered away from because I'm like I want to do something really good with my life, but I also don't want people to look down on me because of certain positions that
Just 'cause
social
of your
workers
job
do
title.
have. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't just take kids away. That's not part of my job at all. That's not.
Right.
I have nothing to do with
And
that.
that's exactly how you would get
Yeah,
essentially titled.
a lot of people, think that like, oh, what are you? Oh, I'm a social worker, and it's like,
Stay
you know?
away
Is there-
from me. I got kids.
Is there like a better title for your job?
yeah.
Because
So yeah, I'm basically like a mental health clinician is
Okay.
what I call
That-
myself.
that
But
sounds
that sounds
way
like
better.
super like smart, and I'm not super
well,
smart.
you have a master's.
I work with kids. And it
So?
like you guys all have kids here.
Yeah. I mean, that would. So
we are
first off,
also all kids.
So first off,
So-
you work K through 12, so that's
Yeah.
that's huge.
That dynamic
yeah.
is wild.
Yeah, and then secondly, like kids require patience in general.
Oh yeah.
But then typically when it comes to counseling, it's due to something impacting them in their lives, which is going to require even more patience and more, full understanding and things like that. So I think you
Right.
you definitely got to be hella smart to be able to handle those types of situations and put yourself
Right.
into that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
how do you deal with that? Because like, for me, like, so ever since I became a dad, like I'm really a big ass softy now.
Yes.
Shut up. And like,
Teddy bear.
fuck off. But like anytime there's like a video on Facebook or something like that about like a kid being injured or like abducted or like something like that, or if there's like a documentary about that kind of stuff. Like I legitimately can't watch it because it makes me so like kind of emotional. Like I just can't deal with it. So how do you kind of deal with hearing that kind of stuff coming from kids?
Oh, it breaks my heart. I mean, I'm not a mom,
Right.
but like those kids are probably the closest thing I have to kind of like feel, not even like feeling like a mom. I can't even, I can't have that type of, connection, but that's not a good word for it, but I can't feel what that's like.
You're like a big sister.
Yeah,
kinda.
absolutely. And I feel like a lot of these kids I have worked with for years and years, and it's like I see them go from second grade to, fifth grade and just become like this bigger person and then like experimenting with new things or bad things or whatever, just hearing anything awful happen to them, it breaks my heart. I'm not going to say I haven't cried with some of my students or just like held one of my students when she was
gotta be tough.
feeling suicidal or, it's so tough. But it's also like so rewarding.
Right.
I'm like, my kids are so awesome.
And
I mean,
to your point, you get to see them like progress too, which is also nice for that whole K through 12 situation as well. Is that it's not just okay, I'm dealing with kindergartners and on to the next one, Like you get to kind of go with them and see the progression, which is totally awesome.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I'd be able to handle that on a day-to-day basis.
That'd be tough.
And obviously no specifics and things like that, but like what's the kind of like situations that you have to deal with? Like what kind of comes up? Like obviously suicide's probably a big one.
yeah.
Is there like other things that are
A lot of times,
frequent?
yeah, I feel like depression.
Right,
That's one of the most frequent ones. Anxiety, not learning how to like just chill themselves out if they, we all have like crazy thoughts sometimes, but so depression, anxiety. A lot of my older students are self-harmers. So I'm doing a lot of suicide assessments often, which are super lengthy and exhausting. And, I am then responsible to determine whether that child has to go to the hospital or not. And so that's a lot of pressure. And it's like, okay, well, is this student telling me the truth about, their thoughts or feelings or whatever? And so I kind of have to like make a decision based off of just a judgment of talking to a kid for maybe an hour and maybe a kid I don't even know. And so it's like, it's pretty hard. I don't know that answered your question.
So have you been trained to like look? So are you going through like a lot of like suicide prevention things, like yourself, like classes and stuff for you to get more aware of like things to look for? And
every
like,
year we have to
triggers?
do like trauma training. We have to do a lot of training just to like be able to stay up on top of this. But with little kids, I feel like, and I'm not trying to be too depressing, I think that families just kind of are maybe rocky. I'm not really sure. It's really hard to counsel a 7-year-old. A 6-year-old, the attention span isn't there. So it's like I really just try to build that support for them instead of like viewing it as counseling. Just view it as like I'm a safe adult if they need someone to talk to or if something were to happen in the home.
That could definitely be tough. I can't.
Oh, it's so
because my
tough.
son's 5 and he'll be 6 in April, and like it's to your point, like trying to get that out, and that shit would be tough.
In a way that like makes sense and it's not like kind of gibberish coming from him or whatever.
What's funny is that like I already feel like when I talk to people my age, I'm like I sound really dumb because I talk to kids all day and that's my excuse. But then I was talking to the 7-year-old the other day and I couldn't even find like not dumb enough words, but like words that he could even understand, and I was just scrabbling and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm losing it at this point. And it is hard. It's like you're 7.
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up too, because like it's got to be different. Obviously, it's very different, but like doing from K to 12 and then doing like a 35-year-old man, you know what I mean? Like, because with older people or people who are adults, you can kind of talk more or less like some logic into them, and they can understand different points of views and they can comprehend a little more. When you're trying to talk that through a 7-year-old's mind, they're just like, that doesn't make sense, because the only thing that makes sense to me is cartoons and G.I. Joes. Yeah.
Well,
I almost see it like the exact opposite though. And I don't know if that's just like me being like a young female or just looking young in general. like I've been mistaken for a 5th grader before, and it's like, come on.
That's
Come
going low.
on.
That's going like
think
you
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 just
definitely
gotta
look young,
find-
but damn,
Right.
fifth grader.
But I feel like with just where I'm at in life right now, if I were to try to work with adults, they'd look at me and be like, "What do you know? You know what can
Did
you
you get
teach
that?
me?"
You get that all the time though. I mean
in any, yeah.
You've probably seen it being in leadership too.
What's
I
that?
guarantee that trying to like coach older, like the
Yeah.
older generation and things of that nature, like
Yeah.
they're hard workers, but when it comes to like being and like managing and talking with them and trying to
They're
get
stuck
them,
in their ways.
dude,
Yeah.
so stuck in their
I
ways.
see your point in that.
And that's the hardest thing.
It's
like
so
I
hard.
Yeah,
It's so hard.
And with kids, it's not like you have to like shape them or like make sure that they're fixed or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just talk to them and
Right.
just treat them like a little human,
Well, that's-
like they are. And then it's like you're
Right.
safe to them then. And then
Yeah.
if something were to happen, or if they are crying, maybe you're their safe person. They're having a breakdown in class. You're their safe person
Right.
to, hey, Cara, come get them real fast, and
Right.
I'll sit with them as long as I need. And
Yep.
we
And
may
then
not
you'll just
fix
be a
anything.
friend.
Yeah.
Right. All right, guys, a little break in the action here to shout out our Patreon producers.
Thank you.
Yes, let me pull them up because I'm dumb and I can't ever remember them. We got Taylor, Nate, Teach a Dummy Podcast, Tommy, Steve, Sarah, and Barili.
Yes.
So thank you guys for being on the Patreon.
Thank you
we
all
definitely
for your
appreciate it. Yes. I'm pretty sure all of the producers have been on an episode already.
Not all of them.
other
Really
than-
hasn't.
Yeah, but really needs to come on. Sarah's in fucking Florida, and Nate's in California. So
Those ones are a little tough.
yeah, if
So,
you're ever in town, let us know.
Right.
You're welcome to come on. But yeah, thank you guys for being Patreon producers. Again, we can't do it without you.
Very true.
So we did want to shout out our first small business sponsor as well, Brubaker Photography.
BRUBAKER.
That's very easy for you to spell.
So-
It's
so much
cheating
easier.
because it's just BRU plus your last name.
Yep.
That's cheating.
31 years
but-
of experience, so I'm
Yeah.
good.
So thank you to Brubaker Photography on Facebook. Give them a like, share, follow, all that kind of stuff. You can actually go to the community tab and invite your friends to like their
Yes.
page.
Absolutely.
And it's facebook.com/BrubakerPhotography1. Show them some love because they've shown us some love for the last couple months now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
They've definitely been our producer for a long time.
yeah,
so.
yeah, they were
Small
our
business. I
Yep,
love it.
the first ever official small business sponsor we have. And then I want to mention, too, obviously we do have some small business sponsorship opportunities available still through the Patreon. If you guys have a small business, if you have like a Twitch stream that you want advertised, if you have another podcast,
Anything.
yeah, we'll shout out your OnlyFans, whatever you want. We'll shout out your sister's OnlyFans,
I can't.
just let us know. Just let us know. Patreon.com/AverageAF podcast. We got a ton of bonus content, and that all comes with the sponsorship and all that kind of stuff too. So,
Absolutely.
Again, thank you guys all for supporting us, and back to the action. Well, that's how I wanted to be too when I wanted to be a counselor. Like, and I even at a young age because I knew I wanted to do that when I was like 15.
Yeah.
So I was relatively young. I just can't do school. School's just not for me. Like I can't do it. But basically I just growing up was like, I just want to be friends with these people. Like I went to therapy like once or twice when I was younger, but that was about it. Like I don't really have much personal experience with it. But at the same time, like I know the stigma and I know, and especially back then, because when I was like 14, it was 2005, I guess, 2004,
Yeah.
something like that. So back then, I mean, mental health was bottom tier. Like nobody really cared. Late 90s, early 2000s, nobody cared about that. But I was just like, I want to grow up and help people, but just be their friend. Like, and that's why, like, I don't want to say like that's why school didn't interest me, but like at the same time, like obviously there's a lot of training that goes into it. I'm not trying to downplay that at all, but I'm like I can just talk to people and just help, like at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, can I just kind of get paid for that? Like, you don't have to pay me as much as fucking Miss Masters over here, but like, just like, can I make a living just being like, what's up, man? Like, stop. You're good. Like,
well, I
You're
think it's
doing
like
it right
important
now.
to know that there's
Yeah.
not a lot of men in the you are doing it right now, but there's not a lot of men in the field too, and I feel like that's important. I don't know if it's just seen as like a female type role.
Right.
There are men in the field, and I love when I see men in the field because I'm like, we need you. Because
Right.
you know, some kids go through traumatic experiences with women, and then they can't connect with someone
Right.
like me.
Yeah.
Not because I did anything to them, but it's just I'm too similar or whatever it be. And so
Right.
like when men come in,
It could
it's
trigger
just
something.
it's amazing because I'm like, you know,
Right.
we see women sometimes as like this motherly instinct, and it's like sometimes like men can also be that way.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it's pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, there's definitely and this is just the reality of it. There's just definitely a different bonding experience
Yeah.
from a little boy and a man and a little boy and a girl and like a woman. Like, even if you don't know them or anything like that, just the vibe and all that's completely
Yeah.
different. And there's nothing wrong with either one, but sometimes you want one or the other. So it would be good to have more guys do it, but
You had sorry.
no, you're good.
You had mentioned something about going to counseling like way back when,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I don't know, you kind of talked about like a little bit of the history, but like where do you feel like it's at now compared to where it was then when it comes to like the stigma on like male mental health?
Well,
because that's
Yeah, I think it's definitely gotten better. It's
Okay.
definitely gotten better because now kind of our generation, 25 to 35, that kind of range, we grew up back in the 90s and the late 80s or whatever, and there was nobody cared
Yeah.
about your mental health. Like, I grew up,
Yeah.
I had a pretty good childhood. Like, I can't really complain. Not once did my parents be like, hey, what's bothering you?
right.
They'd be like, go the fuck outside. I'll tell you when dinner's ready. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it was loving,
Be
like,
back when the streetlights are on.
yeah. But I lived in the country. There's no streetlights.
Okay,
It's
well,
just,
okay.
the rule was come
you
back.
know what I was going
The
at.
rule was come back inside when you can't see the backboard anymore to play basketball. And that's when I went back inside.
How many times did you shine a flashlight on that shit?
Every night. Every single night. Yep. Dude,
it.
basketball was life when I was a kid.
I
But
knew it.
but yeah, like it didn't matter back then. And now we're all growing up, and especially the generation under us, or younger than us, they're very focused on mental health. They might, in my opinion, might be almost, I don't want to say too focused on it, because I don't think there's a bad amount to be focused
Yeah.
on it. But at the same time, like, sometimes you got to kind of suck it up.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But I think with our generation, it's definitely helping expand it.
Well, when it's used as an excuse, that's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I do. Some people do use it as like a scapegoat and shit
Right,
like that.
right.
But
And that's the hard part about kind of calling it out. And I don't know if you might deal with that a little bit, just kind of kids saying some kind of off-color stuff more or less, and then they're like, hey, you got to go talk to Cara. And they're like, oh, I was just kidding. Like, does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh, yeah. And then I sit with that kid. Usually it ends up being about like 2 hours, and they end up just like letting everything come out because
Really?
it's scary. It's scary to talk to someone.
Yeah.
It's scary to like tell your feelings. It's scary to be vulnerable with a stranger,
Right.
especially. And so like building a connection, which you are really good at with everybody.
Thank you.
And that's how like naturally you would be good at the job. Unfortunately, school is long and boring and
Yeah.
sucks.
My IQ's 60, so that's a low IQ
Oh,
if you didn't
goodness.
know.
it's better than some though, at least.
Yeah, it's better. Never mind.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to get into it, but I even told my parents when I quit school, I was 21, I think 21, and I told them like because we were paying all out of pocket.
Yeah.
A little bit of kind of grants and stuff here and there, but I told him, I said, I'm responsible enough to know that I'm not responsible enough to keep paying for this.
Smart.
Because I would just, psychology, philosophy, things like that, I would get A's in. And I'd have a blast going to those classes. But then there's algebra, which I love math. When it gets to college, I'm just like, nah.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, and like English, like I like writing, but at the same time, like,
Oh my goodness, I forgot about all of your writings that you used to do. We don't have to bring them up, but I just brought them up. Maybe you can talk about that at some other point in time.
The Troy
Well,
memories.
no, I think. Oh my God, the Troy Chronicles.
The Troy
yes,
Chronicles.
yes, sorry about that.
Are you talking about like the songs I made?
You just like used to write. Yeah, I mean, you used to write, and then there was some poetry in there too.
Yeah.
I feel like, and you just.
Oh, look at you getting in your feels, bro.
Sorry.
Hey, no, but like I like to write. I like
Chicks
to write
dig it.
articles, and
I also just want to say, like, I think that that's like a really awesome thing, and it's hard as a male. I feel like I'm not a male. I can't speak for
right.
you guys, but I feel like it's a pretty like big thing to put yourself out there like that, to be like, hey, you know, I do write songs, or I do write poetry, or I do just write in general.
Right.
I express myself.
I don't know. It was never difficult for me, and I think it was just, again, kind of how I was raised, because I was raised to just, like, my dad always said, you know, be yourself, no matter what, be yourself, and that's what, you know, most parents say and whatever. But my dad stopped me when I was like 16 or 17, and he's like, you know, I'm really proud of you, because we always told you to be yourself, but like you're actually like 100% yourself, like at all times. And I just remember in 5th grade, we were introduced to poetry, like kind of heavy in like an English class. And I was the only kid in class, like the only guy in class, or really basically the only kid in class, because it's 5th grade. And I was like, this shit's cool.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I like this stuff. And I've always loved poetry. That's what got me into hip hop. Was
It
poetry.
probably triggered hip hop too.
And I played drums, which got me into the beats of hip hop, and it just you know trickled that way. But yeah, I've always been kind of in touch with my emotions. I don't have many anymore, but when they're around, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I don't mind. But yeah, it's just interesting, and I like to, I guess, share my philosophy like that with people. Like, who cares? Like, and we've had these conversations in the last month, like, about shit that's going on. I'm just like, who cares? You know, just don't. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, be yourself, be true to yourself. Like, doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, and that, dude, I try to tell Danielle that shit all the time too, about the shit that's going on. Like, not to worry about it. Like, dude, I've been through so much shit.
Right.
Like, fucking man, you just got to enjoy each day.
Right. Yeah,
Same.
we've everybody in this room has been through a ton of shit.
Yep.
And it's just like, all right, like my whole mindset is like, okay, what do we do now? That's my whole mindset. Like, if something happens, okay, it happened. What do we do now?
Take it from today and move on.
Yep. It's just one day at a time, every time. And I kind of, I would like to share that with like kids and like, or adults or whatever. And I think that's kind of why I started the podcast, honestly, is to kind of share my thoughts and kind of
Get
things
it out
like
there
that.
to people.
You know that you could still do like motivational speaking in schools and stuff too. And I know that's not as like personal as probably you would like, but I mean,
there's not much motivation in saying like, oh, fuck it.
I mean,
You
yeah,
know,
there
that's like-
really is.
Can
You would
be.
be like so surprised by,
Yeah.
you know, no, you'd really be
I
surprised.
don't know. I'm nervous to even record podcasts. I don't think I would be good
He'd be all right.
doing motivational
He'd be
speaking.
all right.
Everybody listening right now is like, shut the fuck up. We don't want to hear him talk anymore. Don't give him any ideas.
They're trying to figure out what school you're going to be speaking at.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Speaking of.
Speaking of. Get it,
Speaking
Buster.
of
Get
speaking.
it, Buster.
Havana.
Speaking of.
I'm going to throw this out here because we're on the episode.
We're live.
I was going to say we're live. We're not live, but we're kind of live, but we're not.
We're recording.
We're recording.
But
Yeah.
we're live.
We talked about it,
Ish.
and I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it on air so everybody knows.
Oh no.
I kind of want to start a podcast with Cara.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go.
No,
You
I mean,
gotta
we're going
go.
to keep doing this one,
okay.
too.
Do it.
No.
But I don't know. We've
Wait,
kind of
hold
been talking about it a little bit. We'll see what happens.
Can I still produce it?
Yeah, you definitely can.
Sweet.
Um,
Sorry, Baker.
But it's going to
That's
be,
all right.
Fun.
I mean, this is all hypothetical, obviously. I don't know if it's going to actually happen, but we talked about doing one about, like, relationships and just, like, talking shit, basically.
My only fear though is that I feel like we're a lot alike and some of our like feelings towards relationships or in relationships, and it's like one of us has to be like the
A
fiery.
little different. Yeah.
But I mean,
Well, that's why I brought him in, because I'm usually the quiet one for the most part.
well, and I'm not. So maybe,
Right.
I mean, we could always just like
Yeah.
test
But
it
I'm
out,
also
see.
in a 10+ year relationship, so I'd have to tread lightly in that water.
Yeah.
That's why you're not invited.
I gotta tread lightly
Yeah.
in that.
That's why you're not invited.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
in committed, loving relationships is not invited.
Not
on this show.
invited. You can listen. I mean, if you want advice.
Shit.
All right.
We'd have to get like different lighting and shit.
No, we don't. We can
Oh,
record
yeah.
right
We
here.
gotta
We
do-
just
you
get a
gotta-
different banner.
You just gotta put everybody in the mood and
Yeah.
Do
Some
like
candle lights.
Oh,
be a late night podcast.
I'm already. I'm staying up late tonight just working on this already.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yep.
We can
I
at
already
least.
got a list going.
Yep. We're gonna start that. I don't know if we actually are, but I
shit.
wanted to say it on the episode just cause.
Manifest.
But
I got a quick question though before we steer
Patreon,
off
get
Okay.
completely.
all right.
Do you plan on going for your doctorate?
Okay, so when I graduated with my master's, I was like, I will never go back.
And master's is 7, right?
It's usually like
I think
6 or
it's
7.
8, right?
No, so an associate's is 2, bachelor's is 4, master's is between like 6 and 7. I had like a
Okay.
part-time program that's all they offered. So it was a 3 year. So I got it in 7, and then like usually doctorates is 8. So basically, like if I had one more year, I could probably do it.
really?
But at this point, I'd have to have 2 more years. But a doctorate like requires you to write a dissolution, or not.
Disillusion.
We're not getting divorces here. I mean,
I
we
was about
can.
to say.
No, what are those called?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I already did that once. No thanks.
Right.
I mean, anyway.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, a
really-
dissertation. Sorry.
and they're really
Super
fucking long.
close. Super fucking long. And you know what? Like, there was one time I had to. So graduate school was all papers. It was like every paper that you wrote had to be over 15 pages. And I remember like the longest one I had was probably. It ended up being like 47 pages, and I decided to write it the night before.
Oh my gosh.
The day was due because I like to, with anxiety, I like to make things worse on myself and just
Absolutely.
like panic a little bit more. But I feel like a doctorate's like, I would love to do that, but that's more debt. That's also more responsibility. That's also a lot of fucking writing
So,
that
like-
I don't have in me.
If you,
I feel you.
I don't know. I guess if you had a doctorate and you continued to do exactly what you're doing now, same place, same, kids and everything like that, do you think you would get like a pay increase just for having a doctorate, or is that not how it works?
Yeah, I feel like
Would the difference be worth it?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know because I feel like with the doctorates, you basically have, at least I'm under the impression that you have like 3 different options. You can do research, which has never been like an interest to me, at least back in college. But now, like late nights, I want to research everything.
Right.
Makes sense.
Teaching, teaching, or like not even necessarily counseling, but you can. But it's also that's more of like prescribing medication. And I love the one-on-one like clinical stuff where I can really get to know
Right.
you and really just like
So you're happy with where you're at.
I
There's-
love my job.
There's
But
not too much more that you would want to do with it.
if I got paid, I think social workers in general or like any mental health workers, we don't get paid enough for what we do.
Oh, I bet.
But I
that.
love my job. Like I just love
Right.
it.
Right.
I wouldn't. They say like money doesn't buy happiness, and it is a struggle sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes it is a struggle to get up and talk to my kids, but at the end of each day, I'm like, damn, like
Right.
I'm pretty freaking blessed, even regardless. Like,
You're actually helping people. You know what I mean? You're actually making a difference, which is awesome.
it feels good, but I feel like we all do in a way.
But I bet you learn a lot of lessons too, on like self lessons.
Oh,
like
yeah.
learning to appreciate things and
Yeah.
shit of that nature. Like,
Absolutely.
there's so many things that can come out of that. So that's awesome.
Well, I wanted to talk about too, because we've talked about it, and I feel like it's good to share this among the listeners and viewers and whatever. Like, I think it was 2 episodes ago we went over little quirks and kind of things like that, right?
Yes, we
and
did.
and hers came up.
You ready for the weird stuff?
Well, I want to talk about it because, like, we can get into that in the bonus episode. But Patreon.com/everydaypodcast. But, so,
Subscribe.
but But I want to talk about it too because we're all a little strange. We're all a little quirky. We all do something kind of interesting and whatever. So I want to talk about how you handle yours while having kind of the knowledge that you do about like what's going on and kind of things like that. And has it like affected how you approach your job at all? Does that make sense? I know it's kind of a loaded question.
That is one hell of a loaded question.
I'm sorry. I'm just dropping bombs.
Can we break it down just a little? Yes,
Well,
I get where you're going with that, but
You just
I
feel
just
that
kind of
shotgun
like
with
it's
buckshot.
like I don't know.
Well,
I'm gonna.
so yeah, that was a lot. I'm sorry, but like, how do you? Let's
I feel like
review.
I can.
Let's review the little quirk thing that you do a little bit,
Okay.
as much as you want. Outlets, kind of things like that.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I don't even know where to start. Where do I start? I feel like I had sent you this elaborate text message while I'm like shaking the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, like really not many. And I hit the mic because now I'm nervous. I'm
okay.
talking about it, but
Don't punch the mic.
I'm just gonna punch it through the window. No, it's just not something I've really talked about a lot, and so this isn't necessarily the reason I got into like mental health counseling. See, look, now I'm just.
You're fine.
Gonna fidget everywhere. No, where was I even going with that? See, it's like
I'm just curious about
my quirks. Yeah.
yeah,
So-
because we all have them.
Process.
I guess like the first time I noticed the quirk that you guys talked about last week was probably around 9th grade. Now, like I had always suffered from anxiety
Right.
and depression. I was always like a moody bitch growing up, and it's like no one understood. My mom's like, "You're the devil," and I'm like, duh, like, but who isn't
Get away from
any
me.
other like 15-year-old girl to their mom sometimes, and so
Right.
in 9th grade, I don't know, like, I can't remember the exact day that it started, but I do remember the time that like I would always watch, what was it with like Steve Urkel? It was always like going to bed at night.
Family Matters?
Family Matters.
Hell
Thank you.
yeah.
Like that's like the vivid memory that I have is like Family Matters would always be on, and I would be like, it was an old house. I don't know if I was worried about fire. Now I'm like, where's that lighter down there?
Right.
But I would just, there was this one night it took me, I think I had just like kept track, and it was over 2 hours that I had like been touching plugs in just one room. And I was just bawling, and like, I had not told anyone, I didn't know any school counselors weren't really a thing. And, we had them, but like, I didn't really know them. And it's not something that I even knew to go to.
If you went to the counselor back when we were in school, you were already immediately labeled like some kind of weirdo
Oh, yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
And it's not even that I even, like, recognized that it was something odd. I was just like, I don't want to die tonight. Like, I want to make sure that all these plugs are, like, fine. They're not. And when you had said, I'm not sure if she means plugs or outlets. And so I guess I just wanted to, like, specify. I do mean plugs if they're plugged in. So, like,
Okay.
I can't
So,
show
like,
you
over here would be
listeners.
one.
So is it something plugged into the
Yeah.
wall?
Yeah.
So I would have to touch that plug 5 times. And now if there was like 2 of them, I would touch the top plug 5 times and then the bottom plug 5 times. And then like up to a total of 25 times each. And so bear with me. And if you need me to answer
fine.
questions, because it does get super confusing, but
I'm just trying to picture how long
I'm
that
saying,
would
like,
personally...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah, I
1,
got
2,
you.
3,
I'm
and
just
then-
trying to picture how long that would personally take.
yeah, and it's like at
'Cause
the
that's
end
a
of
lot.
each of those times, it's like, okay, well, if the bottom one feels fine and the top one doesn't, at the end of like that 25 times each,
You start over?
I have to start over. And so, like, at least that plug. And so you guys asked if there was like a checkpoint. It does depend. It kind of does depend. Like if I,
So let's say this one's clear,
Okay.
right? You just check this one. We're clear. We move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through your 25 times.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right. So now you've got to restart. Are you just restarting at that plug?
restarting at that one, unless I'm like super, or like unless I'm interrupted by, I think I said like a noise or like a dog barking or a phone call or like something that is totally taking my distraction off of not just like the numbers or if I'm counting wrong, because like the counting is already it's embedded in
Yeah.
me. It's
Right.
just like I can count that plug 25 times without
Like, it's
even
natural now.
Yeah. I'm not really sure like where or what.
So it sounds like from what I'm getting, it sounds like just straight distractions
Yeah.
will make you restart from scratch.
I've had like when I've lived with a boyfriend before, like I mean, as I've gotten older, and I'm sure you guys had probably questions about, you know, living with someone or whatever that be, but as I've gotten older, it's like, can you just shut the fuck up so I can do my routine?
Right,
And it's
like,
like,
give me my hour.
but how do you even ask someone to like, yeah, give me
you-
my
Give me
hour
my
before it's like they're
hour.
like, I want to cuddle, and I'm like, no, I got to check plugs,
Right.
and it's like,
Well, in my opinion, honestly, like you shouldn't have to ask.
no,
Yeah.
If they're already aware of the situation, they should respect you enough to be like, okay, do your thing.
Because trust me,
I'll
that's
be right here.
dude. That's what I've learned.
yeah,
Like first and foremost, you don't question anxiety.
That's right.
You don't. I used to because I didn't understand it. I truly didn't understand it because anxiety is one hell of a thing.
Right.
oh yeah,
And I still like personally like I don't have it. I thank God that
Yeah.
I don't have it, but my fiance does like really really bad. Not here bad, but definitely bad. So, but at first I was always like, what the hell? Like, why are you worrying about that? Like, why are you worrying about that? And then as the years went by, I'm like, you don't know why you're worrying about that.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Right.
no logic behind
Right.
it. You have no idea why your brain's triggered that way. And
Well, there
It's-
might be, but it might be from a long ass time ago.
yeah, but
Right.
at the same point, they're like, I don't know why the hell that triggered me. Like,
Right.
and I've got anger issues too at times. So at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I kind of understand. Like,
That's-
stupid shit just is
That's
like,
that's the whole thing with like all this is it's not like you're choosing to do that, like
mhm.
you know what I mean, like you can't just turn that off.
no,
And like your anger issues or whatever, you just can't turn that
Yeah.
off. Like when the situation arises, it just happens, and you have to let it happen,
right,
and just let it kind of run its course. Try to, you know, like in your case, I guess, try to make sure not too many bad things happen or
Yeah.
whatever. Try to minimize, you know, the effect on other things with it, but do what you got to do. And again, I just kind of wanted to bring this up because like you're quite literally the professional on this subject.
Yeah.
You really are.
yeah,
And you're still going through this.
right,
You know what I mean? So even the professionals and even the people that are, you know, aware of what causes these things and kind of things like that, they're going through all these things too.
Mhm.
So
It's crazy.
if you're going through something, like just know that basically everybody is.
yeah.
Everybody's going through something.
And if I can like kind of, I guess, go back and answer your question, like, how do I help kids when I'm kind of like, you know, a little quirky myself? And it's like, I'm able to normalize their feelings, and they can look at an adult and say, okay, this person is like kind of messing up sometimes too,
Mhm.
and this person
Right.
is kind of like
You're
anxious too.
normal.
I'm normal, and yeah, and we
Yeah.
all are normal, and we put on our pants the same way. Well, I don't know how everyone else
Right.
puts on their pants.
There's
but-
only a couple different ways. We're all
I like to
basically
swing
the
from
same.
the swing set sometimes and
Okay.
jump into
okay.
them.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
new. I'll try. I don't
Trampoline.
really like wearing pants, so
Right.
next time.
I wear basketball shorts like basically Monday through Friday.
I didn't know if I could wear sweats here, or else I would have
can
been in
wear whatever,
sweats.
yeah.
Well, I would have known
She'll be a lot more comfortable next time.
next time.
Yeah, I'm definitely in just pajama pants.
I know you
Yeah.
showed up. I'm like, okay, well, no one told me.
All right.
Well, yeah, you can't
No
see
one told
anything
me.
from here down, basically. So
Chilling.
But yes, yeah, like we all go through something, and I think that like even if I typically, if I come across a student with OCD, I will probably try to be there as like, support until I can find them a counselor that they, can use, because
Mhm.
I already know that that's not something that I can help with. I was trying to see like a therapist for a little bit of time, and she basically told me, she's like, you're a little crazy. You might need to see a psychiatrist. And I'm like, I don't have time for that because my schedule's pretty busy. And so
Right.
we'll just deal with it on my own. And so I did get put on medication for depression, and I've been kind of battling with like the medication that I'm taking. The first, I don't know if you guys even wanted to get into
Yeah,
this,
you're fine.
but
Go ahead.
just to like, I guess, normalize, like, and this is another thing I tell my students who like really, it maybe is just nothing wrong, or like maybe they could have the best life and still really just not want to be here, or whatever it be. And it's like, I get it, medication is okay. That's not my first go-to.
Right.
I don't ever want anyone to
Yeah.
think that, but it's like, if that's really what is going to help you, I mean,
Well, I kind of like growing up, to be honest with you, like I was kind of almost against medication, like not fully, but like, so the reason I got into psychology, and like the listeners have heard this, I don't know, we've probably talked about it a long time ago, but when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with being bipolar.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily think that was an accurate thing. I don't know. But basically my dad was like, you don't need any medication. He called them dummy pills because they just change your demeanor and kind of things like that. And he's just like, we'll work through it, right? And we did, but also I think that's because I'm not actually truly bipolar. I might have like tendencies or something along those lines, but like people with real bipolar disorder and real OCD and, you know, heavy anxiety and kind of things of that sort may need medication.
Yeah.
I thought growing up, I was like, well, I could get through it without any medication. Anybody can. Yeah, we just got to talk and figure it out. But that's really not the case.
Yeah, and it's definitely, to your point, too, like the different severities of things as well. Like, I mean, to your point, you could have had bipolar tendencies, but you might not have actually been fully bipolar. But there's some people that truly cannot.
Right.
Like, I know I've got a kid that I work with that's straight ADHD. And, like, you can tell straight ADHD.
Right.
And at times, like, there's nothing really that you can do. You've got to let it kind of run its course. I don't want to sit there and be like, dude, get your ass to work when he's kind of, like, having one of his ADHD moments. And I'm like, but then other people are like, see that from the outside. Well, what the hell is he doing? Well, if you know my people, like I know my people.
Right.
He's got ADHD. Like, come on. So
I just think it's a good message to get out there because, you know, I think in 2020 we're getting better at it. We're getting better at, you know, accepting mental health. And I know there's been some things going around. I know they do it in other countries, but potentially like taking like mental health days. Like I've heard certain things about some people are trying to like implement sick days, but then also like a couple mental health days or something along those lines. There's like PTO and, you know, whatever. And I think that would be a good thing to introduce. I think it may or may not get abused at first, but even if so, that is considered a mental health day.
Yeah.
Like even if somebody is choosing to abuse it and says, I want to use today as one of my mental health days, even if they're not aware of it, there's some reason that they're doing that. Whether they're like, hey, I just want to go to Cedar Point today and I'm going to use this day. Like, technically,
I just need a day of excitement.
Yeah,
I just need to get my head straight.
Yeah, technically, you're kind of not lying, but lying about using the day.
Like, why are we not able to say that we need that day?
Exactly. But yeah, that day can also affect your mental health in great ways. So I think it would be a cool thing to introduce. I don't know if it'll ever happen in America.
And dude, I think it's big now too, especially with all this shit going on in 2020.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like I can tell Danielle's always had anxiety, but like with all this shit going on, dude, it's triggered it like 20 times worse.
And then I don't want to bring it up to, I don't really necessarily want to talk about it, but like obviously the election is this week in a couple days, and that's just anxiety ridden all throughout. Like I've basically, you know, prided myself on not really suffering from anxiety. Like I get anxiety here and there like a normal person, but like this shit kind of gives me anxiety. Like, what the fuck's going to go on? No matter what happens, it's not going to be pretty, basically, either way.
You know, I watched the Hot Ones episode with Ronda Rousey, and she said, you know, we're ready for a zombie apocalypse, and if we're ready for that, we can get through this election.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, we'll get through it. We'll get through it, but I'm just going to lose my respect for a lot of people, and I'm just not ready for that. Like, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and we're gonna move on to the next one.
Yep.
And it's gonna be the same shit.
Yep.
On to the next.
All gonna be the same shit. But yeah, is there anything else you wanted to go over on the episode before we get a little crazy on a bonus episode?
I don't know if you guys had any more questions.
We'll have you, Becky.
Did you have questions?
Nope. She answered mine. That shit's interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's super awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Like I said, I think you're doing great things.
Thank you.
I think
keep
you
it
need
up.
to give yourself a little more credit than you do.
You definitely do.
But I
there
think-
needs to be more people like you, especially in the world today
Yes.
with all this shit
Thank
going on.
you.
and-
How does that
All the
feel hearing?
tragedies
There
and-
needs to be more people like you because it's a real statement. It's not like
Yeah.
a fluff statement. It's a
I'm
real
like,
thing.
he doesn't really know me.
No.
No, I just
Kara,
no.
you're-
Seriously,
but
thank you though.
you're
But
awesome.
from what I do know,
Right.
like you're
Not
a down.
you, him.
Oh,
But
okay.
you are a down to earth person, and I think people need that. You're not just a scripted business like
Yeah.
woman. Like you're a down to earth, real ass person.
Right.
That I think people need that.
Yeah, I
and
think
that's where they'll
You're
get
still
more
a
comfortable
bitch,
and feel that
but-
connection.
Right.
no, thank
You
you.
know,
It
I was
really
gonna
does
say
mean
it,
a lot.
but
Right.
she a down ass bitch.
Yep.
I always knew it. I always
She
knew
has
it.
been for a decade.
Lord.
But yeah, thank you for coming
Thank
on.
you, guys.
We definitely appreciate it. Everybody, please check out patreon.com/averageaf podcast.
Check it out.
I try not to plug it too much because I don't like asking people to give us money, but like
Give him money.
it is what it is. We did just release sweaters as well.
Yes.
Mine should be here soon, so I should be able to get my Brad Pitt on and model it for you guys a little bit.
Troy.
I can't wait.
Oh man. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys for checking out episode 67. Have a good night.
Till next week. Peace.